Dr. Maisha. That's good. Dr. Maisha. But that'll be amazing. Yes. Wow, that's a long one. So I'm Dr. Maisha, and I'm part of. I'm the founder of Inscription. You can see us on Instagram at Inscription, or go to inscription.com to find, or inscription.co to find out more about us. Our mission at Inscription is to make whole human wellness a reality, and we're trying to spread love and light. So today, I got my start in as a healer. For today, I was already became a physician. Can you see me now? I'm unfrozen now. Freeze. Okay. So sorry. Too many cartoons. So so I got my start as a healer by being a mother first. I realized that I was a healer. Every mother is a healer. And I also realized that I had a gift for it and a knack for it. And I started off learning about herbal medicine. And really, that probably started when I was a child from my mom and my grandmother. Basic things, being Latino, being Puerto Rican, you just go get the aloe for the burn. You take the eucalypto for the cold. It was just a natural part of life. Every winter, we had to eat the orange peels. We had to take cod liver oil. And so this is where it began, as far as becoming a doctor. Because at that time, right now, herbal medicine is all, but back then, you know, it was taboo. You did it quietly. There might be one store that sold herbs, if you weren't able to grow it yourself. And it wasn't, we didn't have Amazon and YouTube and Instagram. We didn't have all that. You couldn't just order this or that from wherever. Now if I tell you about moringa seed and how it can help to lower your blood pressure or your blood sugar, well, you can just go on Amazon and order it from Africa and it'll get shipped to you. We didn't have all that. So to be respected and earn a living at that time, as a healer, pretty much you had to become an MD or an RN, like a medical doctor or a nurse. And so I realized that it was very important to me to direct became a doctor. Oh no, I'm open for questions, whatever you want me to do. I have too much to say. I need to take a breath. Yes, yes, you were listening. You got it. It's literally, those were my exact words. Yes. So we were talking about how to protect this amazing thing, this amazing, not thing, this amazing phenomenon that is woman. And even the word woman, it means womb of man. Some people say it means woe unto man, and it actually, and so we really want is the same as I froze again. Am I am I back? Okay. Is the same there's a word, then the name of God that he uses for himself whenever he says his name. Bismillah, in the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, which is Rahm. So can you hear me? Did I freeze again? Is it my internet? It's not my internet, is it? Is it my side? Let's see. Is it because this is plugged in? I don't know. Okay. Okay. Well, let me just get back to it then. And so, it's a very deep concept that we have as women. The word of are, what we do, our gift that we give, is right there with the name of God, which is synonymous with mercy. So we bring that mercy, that deep, merciful love, that kind of light to the world. And we were talking about how you can do just about anything to a mother and she'll take it off of her child, which she wouldn't take from anyone else because of that rahm, being the rahm. And so for women to grow up and understand that what that means, it starts from when they're little girls. And it starts from training them to love who they are as women from when they're little girls. And we talked about how that started first with the way you dress your daughters. That's the beginning. Well, really, the beginning, of course, is whatever you eat when you're pregnant. So it's a circle. But we'll start at the point of now you have a daughter. Do you let her wear the mini skirts that are popular now and tights? What do you do you put her in the two piece bikini at this swimming pool? But what are you teaching her about her body and what she means to the world? You're teaching her she's just a body that's supposed to be objectified rather than teaching her that she's someone that has dignity inherently. You know, any queen, she has robes, she has a crown. Any royalty, they have clothing on, you know? And so when you have on clothing, there's a dignity. It separates us from the animals. So we're not just these animals, as everyone would have us to believe, that just procreate and die. and born, procreate, die. That's not what this is. There's so much more to us. And so when you're clothed, now you have to deal with me based on who I am and what's in my mind. And my body is staying a protected jewel. And you have to teach your daughters that you are not just your body. Your body is beautiful, your body is important, but it's not to be shared with everyone. You're not going to take your gold and give it to everyone. You're not going to take your diamonds to everyone. And so that's the beginning, is teaching your girls that you are a dignified. We don't dress our boys like that, but we do that to our girls. We objectify girls. And if someone says, put clothes on the women, you say, oh, you're oppressing me. No, keeping me naked is oppression because you're treating me like I'm the meat market. You know, the meat, when you go buy meat, the wrapper is clear. You see straight through it. You know? So we have more value than that. And that's where the beginning is, to start to know what your value is. When you know your value, then you're going to want to be careful about what you drink, what you eat, where you sleep, what you say, how you say it, who you're around. You're going to be careful about your existence at that point, because you begin to understand yourself as a spiritual and intellectual being. And that's the first thing that needs to happen in protecting women, is to take back our dignity and our right to be spiritual and intellectual beings, not just objects of sexual desire. Um, Let me start with the end of your sentence, expressing yourself. Society that thinks freedom is expressing ourselves. Yourself is, in Arabic we say nafs. Yourself is your lower desire. Yourself is your desire to eat, sleep, drink, and procreate. That's, we don't need to know about yourself. People don't care what you ate last night. Stop expressing yourself so much. Have something worth expressing. That's not just yourself, but a collection of all those that came before you. And you can actually give a meaningful contribution to the conversation, because you just got here yesterday. So whatever you have to express is not that new, number one, and it's not that amazing. It becomes amazing when you incorporate that knowledge from your ancestors and all the mothers that came before you. And you're not expressing yourself, you're expressing your tribe, your the dignity of your history, and something that's going to make life better for others. Stop so much worrying about yourself. Worry about other people. That's what we as women do. We worry about other people. And then we take care of each other. So I don't have to worry about me, because my sister's worrying about me and I'm worrying about her. And then I'm not so narcissistic, just looking at myself all the time. Sometimes everybody, I mean, it's too much. Save that expression for your dearest and nearest friends of your quote unquote self. You know, what is the self? Let me hear you express your mind and what you learned and how you learned it and how that's going to make the world a better place for other people. Now that has value. And then people will take you with dignity and respect and stop using you and throwing you away time and time and time again. And this is what happens to us as women. People are bored listening to you, to us. How many times can you talk about how to put on eyeliner or growing your hair? The trivial things we worry about. Meanwhile, there are real world problems that need to be solved. So That's one. Stop so much worrying about expressing yourself. Yourself is not that great to be expressed to begin with, but we think it is because we're all narcissists now to some extent. It's the world we're in. Then, two, the constraints. Everything has constraints. We think freedom means, yes, we think freedom means having no constraints. Well, guess what? A serial killer has no constraint on his desire to murder. A pedophile has no constraint on his desire to abuse little children. Everything has to have constraints. Yes. Yes. It's been, they've gotten there now. I missed it. Huh. Yes. Yeah, I saw that before. I was absolutely devastated. Where are the rights of a child to have a child? It's protecting the rights of the child. We mothers are asleep at the wheel. Who is protecting the rights of someone who doesn't know anything about the world to the point that now the world becomes nothing but sex, nothing but low desire than the animals? How are we going to have the great inventions we've had of the past? How are we going to heal all the ailments that are plaguing society and humanity when all we can think about, what we train our young to think about, is just sex? It's absolutely, I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm definitely very, very sad. When I think about, I saw that and I was extremely sad that day. I actually cried because those children, they are not in an age of distinction. They're not in an age to know what is good, bad, right, or wrong to to the fullest extent of their own. We are training them in what is good, bad, right, or wrong. And so to do that to them, people did that. My generation never showed themselves to a child would be locked up. You've already admitted that it's not good for them. You've already admitted the truth that it's not good for them. And, they're also teaching sexual education at younger and younger ages. Um, and it's not healthy for the children. We even teach math too early because children don't understand those abstracts so early. In the civilizations that really prosper, whispered, yes. They taught math later. A child has to develop a different called abstract thinking in order to really comprehend math. Math is really very theoretical. And so it takes time for them to develop that type of thinking. And so before, the way we taught children were things by rote memory first. So that's why in the greatest past, you always taught children on, and they could remember the entire book by the age of 7 or 8. Then you began to teach them all the other things. And at the same time, you prepared them for marriage at younger ages even. But that was because the whole society died younger, number one. But number two, the society was living in a more holistic way where you saw healthy marriages. No one really had to tell you and sit you down and teach you because you saw it around you. And so family was a tribe, was an extended tradition. You know, we live in isolated little modular homes and we're not in tribes anymore. We don't even know, we don't have that level of human interaction. So these children are definitely not prepared to get married at a young age, let alone be exposed to sexuality at a young age. It's too much for them. They need to get grounded in science and math and history. Well, to just be even, so that is a very loaded question. So the age of distinction, according to our tradition, for boys 15, and for a girl is whenever she begins her moon, her monthly moon. And so at that age, you are allowed to have some input and you are responsible for your choices. However, you are never, no one ever makes decision by themselves. The elders even consult each other before taking a decision because you always have to be concerned with others. This is this, we're ending up talking more about this concept of the self or the nafs. That is the lowest level of a human being. We're not much more than an animal. And so even when you get to this age of distinction, you still have those and the elders. And who you marry is it's a group decision. And when you marry is a group decision. You say, I'm ready for a spouse, I'm ready for marriage. You say, I like that boy, I like that girl. And we say, well, that one doesn't suit you. This is one of the reasons marriages lasted. It was before. Now it's not. Because now you go to the nightclub, you see a cute guy, you go home, you fornicate. Then, if you're lucky, 2, 3 years later, finally, maybe he decides to marry you, if you're lucky. And most of the time he doesn't. And you're just used up. When you're ready to get married, you can't. Because the men can smell that you're used up. And they don't want that. But there's nothing wrong with having tons of children. I'm not a person, I don't believe that God would allow children to be born without the earth having enough for them. So then you say, why are there starving children? Well, because you have greedy people who are taking what's not theirs taking more than their portion and take. So we don't have starving children because people are having too many children. We have starving children because we have too many greedy people who are only worried about expressing themselves and having big expensive toys and tons of houses with rooms they can never live in. So there's plenty on this earth, but we're not using it correctly. We're destroying it or hoarding it. And so as far as pregnancy, I love pregnancy. Pregnancy is something about being a woman is going to remain lacking without it. When you grow another human being inside of your body, you have another soul inside of you, and you're responsible, you understand in a whole nother way that you are not your own. Because when you're pregnant, that child owns you. You can't even get comfortable when you try to go to sleep at night. You can't eat what you want to eat. It's gonna make you crave weird stuff. You can't do what you want to do, and you learn something as a woman that a man will never fully understand, which is part of what the justice is and how God made it. You learn that your body is not yours. It, it's a loan. You've been loaned this body. And just like it was loaned to you, it's going to be taken from you. Because for those 9 months, it's being taken from you. And this is a great gift for our spirits as women. And this is part of what makes us develop as women into true women, is that process of bearing and nurturing the child. The nurturing begins there. We are the rahmah. We are the mercy to the world. Prophet Muhammad is the mercy to all the worlds, but we are part of how God expresses his mercy in the world. Because when you feel those feelings and then you do it again, pregnant again, you know your body's not going to be yours, but you do it again. You willingly do it again and again. And for some of us, we just keep going until we can't. Because that feeling, that connection with another human being growing inside of you and their heart pumping inside of you, it develops you in a way that nothing else can. And then you have hormones for it naturally. You have oxytocin, which makes you bond stronger. Women bond stronger because of oxytocin in part. That's the physical part. And there's the spiritual part as well. And there's the developmental part, which is what we've been talking about. And so because we bring humanity. You experience his legacy. He cannot experience himself replicated. Can you hear? Something happened. So did you get the part I said? I said that we as women have a huge honor and a tremendous power, a gift that was given to us exclusively. Yes, so a man, he cannot replicate without us. Yeah. Exactly. It's destroyed. It's ruined. You can't. Yeah, when we talked about how it's important to be ready to have. Okay, so first, what we were talking about, I think you're referring to it beginning with maintaining your purity was the first thing you mentioned. As a woman, every single thing that you look at, and as a man too, it affects your soul. It doesn't just affect your soul. Queenie Green, boom. All right, so I was saying that women are born with all of the ovums they're going to have for their entire life. Men constantly make sperm, but women with their babies already in their body. So when you are, from the time you are born, you are affecting your children to come. Yes. And so you really have to guard that gift. And so everything you do, everything you look at, everything you eat, drink, every place you go, everyone has to be pure. If you're going to have good and righteous children that are going to be a source of pride for you when you're older, that you can look at them and say, that's, I did a great job. Look at my work. Look at the fruit of my labor. Anyone can read a book and write a book, but to raise a child that can accomplish, very difficult. And no one teaches you. So instead, you think that you're going to be the same as a man. And so since the men are out just prostituting themselves, then you think you're going to get them back by prostituting yourself. But you damage the next generation in a way that the men can't. And the men do also harm the next generation with that behavior. It's not good for anybody because when the men are out prostituting themselves, who are they doing it with? Someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's aunt, someone's grandmother, someone's daughter. So it's bad for everybody. So we all need to be pure. But for the women, everything that you eat, drink. So you need to be careful what you eat. You need to learn what are the healing herbs, what are the wholesome foods from a young age. That's why we cook and prepare the meals. So we make sure that what the family is eating and what we're eating is healthy and going to make strong bones and strong minds for the generation to come and strong souls that can handle the sacrifices and the challenges and the obstacles that the world's going to throw at us. Because when you're old and feeble and you've raised a good for nothing son who all he wants to do is prostitute himself because all you did was prostitute yourself, who's going to protect you? Who's going to protect you, mom? Who's going to stand for you? All people with disease in their heart out here. Who's going to help you against those people? Because you just wasted your youth laying with man after man after man until your womb was polluted. And if you were fortunate enough to still, you've damaged what you want to blame God. You say, oh, are you there? Okay. Oh, this my kid has this problem or this. defect or this. A lot of those defects is something that we were exposed to when we were pregnant or even from before that. You're out drinking and you want to drink just as much as the men. You want to show that you're free and you don't have constraints and you could do just whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, you're pregnant and don't know it, and you're giving your kid fetal alcohol syndrome. When women drink alcohol, you see the children that have an abnormal face and they're mentally not able, they're challenged mentally. These poor, helpless children, from their mothers consuming alcohol during the pregnancy. And so from when the child is born, you can see it. And then there are other problems that we have that we don't realize what it's related to, like being exposed to pesticides or taking certain medicines or too many chemicals. Everything affects you as a woman. And so you want to eat organic. You want to drink plenty of water. And for the men, if you want to have strong, healthy sons and righteous daughters that are going to make you proud, you had better not abuse their mother. Because if you abuse their mother, you're going to see all those mental illnesses in your children. You're going to see that they're not able to perform like they should in school, that they're not able to accomplish in the world. And it is your fault at that point, men, because you did not honor that which is woman. Because of that arrogance of, I'm going to, just while we women are saying we're going to do what we want to do, he's saying the same thing. Well, I'm going to do what I want to do. And what about what you want to do and what you want to do? Conflicts. No, we need to say, I'm going to do what's best for me and you and the kids and the community. And we all need to say that. That's everyone's mentality. So we become, if she's strong, go ahead. I'm listening. Yeah. Exactly. Right. It's a repeating pattern. So having the children younger out of wedlock is really the problem. So if you have, so they used to marry younger, right? A girl might get married at 13. Yes, 13, 15. That was normal. But when you got married at a young age, the two families are marrying. So it's not just this supporting them and guiding them in how to treat each other and how to have a healthy marriage. So it's not just about having a child at a younger age. You can have a child at a younger age when your body's physically ready to. That's not the issue. The issue is that in this society, we're only trained to think about ourselves, express ourselves, and have no constraints. So at 15, you are not ready to be married. You're not. And therefore, you should not be having a child because the child has a right to know who their parents are for sure and to grow up with their parents that bore them. This is the right of the child before they even get here. And that right is getting violated, and then the homes are broken apart. So she's having a child. with this guy when she's 15, he's too young to take care of her or understand what he's doing either. The only thing they've done is learned about sex in sex ed class. And it sounds exciting, so they do it. They don't know anything about taking care of a household, giving birth, honoring the rights of a spouse. They don't know any of this stuff. So they can't honor each other. All they can do is hurt each other. And then they hurt the children. So when you're teaching kids at a young age about sex, all you're doing is setting them up for disaster and destruction. Right? And then they don't understand the responsibility. They don't understand the consequences. 15-year-olds in this society don't understand the consequences of that. Shoot, 30-year-olds don't. But for men, optimally, you don't want to get married until you're about 26 to 30 years old. That you need a chance to establish yourself in your career, to understand who you are as a man, somewhat separate from your family of origin, and establish yourself with the other men. Maybe you've already family. There's so much you have to learn. And men learn later than women. There's studies that show this. And so you have to be in a position to provide and protect. Because it's very hard for me to fight war when I'm pregnant. I can do it. It's quite difficult to run away from the enemy. Yeah. Yes. If there are any children, you should probably take them away. Really, this conversation's a bit. And so basically, there were some studies that I read where they, in the process of doing autopsies, they found male male DNA in the abdomen of women from multiple men. So all the men that you lay with, then they're still with you. The woman, they're still with you. You can't get rid of them. Think about that. Do you really want to carry this guy around with you for the rest of your life? They stick around, you know? They stay in your body. And they stay in your soul. Because there's a different level of that intimacy brings a level of connection. You've exchanged spiritual matter, not just physical. So whenever you get ready to lay with someone, right? As a man, as a whenever you get ready to lay with someone, you have to ask yourself, is this someone's energy I want in me forever? Yeah. I One study I read, and I don't know, I didn't do a whole lot of research on it, but it's something called chimerism, where they would they found that when a woman had given birth to a male child, the DNA from the male DNA would incorporate into her neurons, her neuronal cell. So it gets in your head, literally. So you're trying to get away from your baby daddy and you can't because he's in your head. So it's not your fault. He's in your head. You just need to choose wisely the first time. And it's not our fault. With all of this, I'm not making judgments. This is very difficult. It takes deep spiritual soul work to not fall into these traps. It is very difficult out here. Women get so mistreated, and usually at early ages. It's hard for them to make good decisions about men. When you mistreat the mother of your daughters, men, I'm telling you, you're going to pay, because she's going to pick someone, your daughters are then going to pick men like you. No, it's mhm. Yes, right. We used to have to present our mates parents before we could make a move. Even in America, even in America, you could not get married if your parents didn't approve. A man could not get married until he could provide. So by default, it would be later. Women weren't in a rush to get married because once you got married, that was it. And so, fine, get your degree, but remember, women, you do have a clock that's ticking. And the older you get, the more chance of having a child that's going to have defects. Once, once you have once you're 30 and older, I'm sorry, 35 and older, the chance of genetic defects goes up exponentially because you've had those same eggs for 35 years. They're old. Right. Yes. Yes. You have to make it happen. Yes, it's extremely important. So the human experience has to do with elevating our souls until we are full of light. And that's when you develop, that's when you have a life that has peace. That's when no matter what is coming your way, you have the boys and the girls equally. Your soul is equal before God. But we're talking about what has to happen so that so what we fail to realize, life is not just about getting more cars, more clothes, more makeup, more shoes. I don't want to prioritize family. Why not? Because you want to get. You want stuff. That stuff is not going to make you happy. You want a degree after degree after degree after degree after. You've collected all these pieces of paper that say you know all this stuff. Who are you benefiting with it? You have no one to pass it on to. Who are you going to pass it on to? Or you went out, you used your body up at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15. You have 10 kids by the time you're 20, and you can't get knowledge. You're exhausted, you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you're trapped in poverty. And maybe it's 10 different, I'm exaggerating, it's more like 5, 5 different dads, 5 different men. And the kids all, when they fight with each other, they say, my dad's better than your dad. And all the dads are worthless because nobody's paying child support. So we put ourselves in one of these two traps, and we go between these extremes. Either I have to wait till I'm 40 to even think about having a child, if ever, and then my child, I can't, and it's like fertility drugs or whatever else. Or you start too young and you're with too many, and it's not, these are the extreme. Why are we in this dichotomy? It's unnecessary. Teach your daughters to respect themselves from when they're young. Teach the boys to value the girls for their minds. Why are you going to dress your child, your girl, naked? Send her to school. These boys, they can't concentrate on their studies. They're busy looking at your daughter. And they're not looking at her because they value her, because they're going to take care of her, because they're going to give her a good life. They're trying to see how can they use her. How can they convince her to allow herself to be used? Because she's dressed like that, she probably doesn't know to value her mind and her soul. She's dressed to be cute, to show. The control factor. Exactly. It's out of order. So we're saying we're getting rid of constraints by being naked, but we're actually creating devastating constraints by being naked. Journey to love and light. Yes. 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 When you begin to discipline the nafs, or the lower self, your spirit can then rise from its constraints. And slow, and with the help of a teacher, you can begin to know when and how and what to say and how to pray and meditate until you're free from the shackles of those low desires. And you ascend little by little until you start to experience this light that I wish I could show you guys. If I could show you right now, you would all stop what you're doing and go where I'm telling you. Oh, there's no beauty and joy like that. That is the true freedom. When you are free from your low desires and you're not concerned with all these worldly things of getting, this insatiable hole that can never be filled, because really you're looking for something of light for your soul. It's really what you're looking for. But you're filling it with food, so now you weigh 400 pounds. Or you're filling it with men, so you've caught every sexually transmitted disease there is, and you're at risk of cervical cancer. And oh, by the way, your fallopian tubes are clogged, you can't have a child. You're filling it with objects that you can't and never will use. And you've taken from someone else, some child that's starving, you've taken from them what's not you through your greed. You know, so these things, you want to be free from them. And so you can go up, and you become lightweight, and you're floating. Then you're free. That's freedom. Yeah, so this is what we're trying to do. And so you want to train your daughters to be looked at with dignity so that they can focus and their minds can develop, and they'll come up with new ideas. They'll solve problems that we couldn't solve. They'll create and invent, you know, and make and do. And you have boys that respect the girls and realize these are our mothers, these are our daughters, these are our sisters. They are going to bring forth our daughters and our sons that are going to take care of us when we're old and take care of what we created, all the stuff we did get, where they're going to take care of it. And then the family unit becomes strong, then the community becomes strong, and then the earth heals. And we as human beings begin to do our true job here. Now, I must have said something along those lines. You're going to have to give me some clues because I was freestyling. Yes. Gotcha. So, first off, drink lots of water. As far as physical things, drink lots of water and eat real food. Don't buy junk. Even if you're poor, even if you're on food stamps, whatever it is, buy organic as much as you can, even if it means you have less food. All of us eat more food than we need. I would rather you eat less food that is healthy for you and your children than have more food and it's full of chemicals. So eat real food: fish, chicken, vegetables, water. Limit the men in your life. Rely on your brothers your fathers, your uncles, for that male attention, for that man that's going to treat you with the dignity and respect that you deserve. Don't go man to man to man. From the very beginning, the best thing is to both people be virgins and get married and stay married and only to each other and faithful. That's the healthiest thing your womb can experience. That you stay with one man and he's only with you and you go like that. That's the healthiest thing for your womb. Also, reading and looking at things that are nurturing your mind and not all of this crazy stuff that's out here. Look at wholesome, the holy books, the herbal books that books or shows or even look at videos that are going to teach you something useful to make life better for you and your family. Business, building, having a garden. We women, we need to have a garden where we grow our herbs that we can heal our kids, or even just to know what's already growing in your garden. Like knowing that you've got henbit in your front yard, and if your kid gets a cut, you can smash it up with some water and stop the bleeding. We need to know what's there. We need to have all that knowledge just right there in our minds. And if you don't know, it's okay. Find a woman who knows. Gather when a woman gives birth, the women need to come to her. They need to cook for her. They need to clean for her. The only thing she should have to worry about is nursing and resting. They need to be making her oatmeal and soups and bone marrow soup and coconut milk soup to get her body back together. If the women pool their resources, even if they're poor, they can live a good life and support each other. Trade off. If it's my turn to study, then another woman I trust with my same values, she'll take the kids for me so I can study. Then it's her turn, I take the kids. And we share that duty together as women. When we are together like that and we love each other instead of competing, and being these meat market sex objects for men, but instead we're working together as women, it keeps us healthy. You have to exercise, you have to walk, you have to get fresh air, and you have to spend time with your sisters and share your woes without, and know that you're not going to meet what you set out somewhere else, because what is very stressful, and we have to have ways to let go of that stress. Do things to make yourself feel beautiful. Take a lavender mint bath to relieve your stress. Get henna done on your hands. We do each other's henna and we talk about life and what the kids are doing. And we solve each other's problems together and find ways to make it better. So I think that might have been more than five, but I'm describing what the real life of women should be like. We must be educated. And so our husbands and our other sister friends need to support us getting that education. Because how do we teach the children if we're dumb? If all we're doing is watching, in my day, it was Days of Our Lives and all this rubbish. Now it's Instagram and Facebook, and you're just scrolling and scrolling and liking and commenting, and you've accomplished nothing unless you're watching things like this that are wholesome and uplifting and teaching you how to make your life better and how to make the life of your children and your mates and your family better. When people look at all the things I know how to do, I tell them I didn't watch TV. I didn't I don't I know how to make candles. I know how to knit, crochet, play an instrument, speak 5 languages. I can read more languages than that. I can tell you Latin history and African history and American history. This is what you want your women, your daughters to be. So you want them to be focused on developing their minds. I can do calligraphy in English and in Arabic because I don't waste my time. I'm constantly learning and studying and growing. And I can cook bread from scratch. And I know how to make herbs to help the lungs and help the colds and coughs when the kids get them, or the husbands, or whoever, or my sister gets sick. You know, these are the things that we spent our time learning how to do, you know? And then when you're learning all that, there's not a lot of time to express yourself. I know how to sew clothes with my hand and with a machine. And it's because of the wholesome life, you know, that we live it together as women, and we teach each other and we help each other. The way our houses are built are so wrong. They're supposed to be on a courtyard. The harem comes from that courtyard where the women meet in the middle and the men don't come, because that's where we hang out and we cook and we can take our scarf off and get some sunshine and talk about the problems of the day and exchange the best recipes and learn from each other and teach the children. You know, so it's a different type of life that you will feel so much more fulfilled, you know, and your womb will be healthy because you don't have time for all those different men. They're not worth you. You're better than that. If they're just trying to use you, they don't deserve you. And if you're just trying to use them for a momentary pleasure, you're tricking yourself. Because it's no different than a crack addict. They're getting that most of us know is not worth it. Whatever that joy that crack addict is experiencing when they hit that pipe, we all know it's not worth it. So that momentary pleasure you're getting from using your body like that is damaging you for life. It's not worth it. And you think you're being free. You think freedom is laying with whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and letting them damage your body. You know, don't let me get into the backdoor thing. The other side, you know, where the waste is supposed to come out, and women let stuff go in. When I was growing up, certain there we didn't do that, and I found out that girls do that now. And do you know when that tissue gets ripped, it doesn't go back? It's hard to stay clean. And then you add that to having a baby. Then you're going to be wearing diapers when you're 50. And no one's telling us how to honor our bodies. And they go that way, then they go in the other way, and all those germs. Then women come to me with these infections they can't get rid of. It's something called bacterial vaginosis. And it comes when those bacteria go from back to the front. And it can happen just being a woman because the space is not very big. But when you on certain things, when you're laying with so many different people, their flora, even if you was a, you know, the skin is going to touch, and their flora gets into your body. And if it doesn't agree with you, it throws you off and you get an infection like bacterial vaginosis or yeast. It's technically not an SD, but it stops that people choose to do. And then the antibiotics stop working because there's just too much going on. The body can't keep up. And then we have to take all these drastic measures like using boric acid to try to get rid of it. And it gives an odor like rotten fish. And the women can smell themselves. Nobody wants to walk around smelling like that. And this is the world we're in. They're telling us be free, no constraints. But your body is paying for it. There's a price to that no constraints. There's constraints to that no constraints. You have to see the truth behind the lie. Nobody's trying to control you. They want you to truly be happy and truly have peace. Have true light and true love flowing through you. We women, we are pure love. That's what we're made of. Rahum, mercy. That's what we're supposed to be protecting. So we have what we wear, what we do, who we lay with, what we eat, what we drink, and who we around. And I would say those are the 5 most important things. And then, of course, there are herbs. Like if you're having a lot of problems with menstrual, there's black cohosh, for example. I don't want to leave my sisters with no herbal remedies that they can look into. There's licorice, which cleans the blood. And I don't mean the candy. I mean the root. And dong quai, which is another Asian based medicine that's very good for balance of the female system. There's castor oil, which my grandmother used to make us drink, and I used to be so upset. Basic things like cinnamon, and then milk thistle, which also helps to improve your milk. And then evening primrose oil, and evening primrose. But what I would say is that it's kind of important when you're starting to delve into the herbs to find an herbologist that can work with you to help understand what's best for your body and your situation. Also, you cannot be drinking alcohol. You cannot be smoking weed. You cannot be partying in the club till 3 a.m. and then think you can turn around and take some herbs and it's going to work. It's not going to work. Because you've poisoned yourself. And your body is working so hard to get all those toxins out that it can't even get to using the herbs to heal the other problems. So drinking and smoking is not cute. It's not cute, sweetheart. It's not cute. You get a dragon breath like a man. Your face, you get wrinkles. You do. The voice, it changes. You know? You get that deep, raspy. It's not cute, ladies. Don't let anybody trick you into abusing your body. Demand your right to be dignified. We have a right to that as women. We go through the most. And we should be honored. The Prophet ﷺ said, paradise lies at the foot of the mother. And the Holy Book says, revere the womb that bore you. It's very specific to make you know that God is talking about your mother, then your father. But mother is first. Some men don't want to hear that, but mother really is first. Because I'm sorry, you didn't almost die to bring that child here. I did. So for the child, the mother is first, then the father. You have to give to your mother first, then your father. But you can't leave out your father. He also suffers and struggles. A man goes to work, blood, sweat, and tears, all his hard-earned money to feed your silly self. And then you're going to disrespect him later? We have to have dignity. It's human beings. I said I wasn't going to tell that one. So there was a story in the time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, the second Khalid, and there was he had to adjudicate a case. A boy, a man came to him and said that his son beat him up, smacked him around, knocked him about, and he wanted the Khalif to help him with this boy that was just mistreating him, was unjust to him. So the Khalif, he's very just. Before he does the punishment, he's going to get the whole story. So he said to bring the boy, bring the young man. So he brings the young man, and the young man said to him, how could you do this to your father? Don't you know what God says about your parents? You can't say oomph to your parents. And he said, I know, Sayyidina Umar Redu, I know. But my father violated my rights. He violated my rights. Umar Redu, what do you mean he violated your rights? Well, first of all, he gave me this terrible name, Rabbit. It's different in Arabic, but Rabbit. And everywhere I go, the people just make fun because I have a terrible name. He gave me this terrible name. He didn't give me a dignified name. And not only that, he gave me a terrible mother. She doesn't take care of the house. She doesn't take care of herself. Everything's always wrong. And the people just make fun of me all the time.
Wow.
I didn't study. I don't know how to do anything significant. And I am suffering. I have a terrible life because of my father.
Wow.
And I was explaining to you that the first right of the child over his father is that he picks for him a good mother.
That's right.
And the second right is that he gives him a good name.
Right.
And of course, then provision he has to provide.
And
The
I
mother is never responsible for provision. That is the man's job. So all you men crying about your child support, hush your mouth and take care of your children.
so I wanted to ask you about the name. When is that a metaphoric name? Is it, or is it just literally, right?
So in that society, the name that was given was like almost like giving someone the name of you're a donkey.
Right.
Or in our society, naming someone pig or dog.
Mm.
You wouldn't give someone this name. Everyone's gonna make fun of them. Like, oh, your name is Pig. That's really your name. Like, I can't even take you seriously. Like,
Right, right.
good morning, Mr. Pig. Like, what?
Not good morning, Mr. Pig.
You know what I mean? No one's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
respect you, and that was what the problem was with the name. So in our tradition, for example, my name Maisha, it means life, and it refers to the luxurious aspect of life. That's what my name means.
I know that's a beautiful that makes you feel great.
Yes, I can. When you say my name, I can feel that energy.
Mm.
Also similar to one of the greatest women in history, which was one of the wives of the Prophet, Aisha radiallahu anha. Half of our knowledge of the traditions of the Prophet's life come from her. And she was a great scholar, and she taught the men. And her name was Aisha. Maisha Aisha is very similar. So it's a great name, it's an honorable name. And so now they call me Dr. Maisha, you know? And so it's a right your child
Yeah.
has. You don't just give them a made up name, you push two pieces of something together
Right.
and that's the name. You're named after one of the greatest angels, Michael. Michael.
Yes,
That's a good
ma'am.
name, you know? And so you give your child a name that has meaning, that's going to help them in their life. Because that energy, they hear it over and over, and that energy becomes part of.
Mm. 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 Well, Dr.
If you
Maisha,
always call.
I think you always give so much information, and the last time we spoke, uh, we said that we would get into some about sickle cell, and so if you have a few more
Yeah.
minutes and you want to share some about sickle cell,
Okay.
I think it's very important that
Yeah.
that you do.
I, I have big
Uh-oh.
news. We have a
Uh-oh, you're breaking up. You're in the red. You're in the red.
conference coming up in
Hold
April.
on. Wait.
And you can go to. Oh,
Wait.
I'm in the
Yeah,
red.
you're in the red. You're in the red. Okay. Okay, we're coming back. Wait. Because I want the people to hear this. Let's give it a chance. And I apologize to the world here because I was traveling but we really wanted to get and we wanted to get it out to YouTube, and so here we are today. But the hotel I'm in doesn't, you know, have the best service that we need.
It's not
Yeah,
good.
I paid for advance, but it is clearly not advanced enough. So
Oh no, it never is with the hotel. I usually always end up using my phone as a modem.
oh
It's terrible.
wow, yeah, you would think it.
But I wouldn't be able to now because I'm like, for example, I'm using the phone for the to
Yeah,
film. So it's a tough.
we're in the green now. So tell us about the conference.
So we have an amazing conference coming up in April. It's open to the public. But it's geared towards re-educating and retraining doctors and nurses and medical professionals about sickle
Mm,
cell trait. And all of the various healthcare professions will be able to get CME or nursing, continuing nursing or continuing medical education
oh,
credits
that's
for
incredible.
the conference. To get the credits, they have to pay the registration. I think it's like $53, not much. But the public can just register for free. If you don't need the credits, you can register for free. And it's going to talk about, we talked a lot about the historical traumas. We talked about the trauma of women today and the trauma of family today and making the family strong again. And so, and we talked about the trauma. So this is now talking about a disease that has been viewed as a black disease, although any race can have it,
Mm, that's good.
that doesn't get studied. People can't get the proper care that they need, and there are a lot of myths out there.
Right.
And this community goes through a lot of trauma when they interact with the health community, because of the lack of knowledge, of the miseducation and the myths. So very quickly, sickle cell trait means that you've inherited a gene that codes for that has coding deletion with the S hemoglobin. And
Gotcha.
typically, when we say sickle cell trait, you have one normal and one defective gene. So half of your blood has the potential to take the sickle cell shape, be stiffer or stickier at any given moment. But they say this is benign, doesn't cause you any problems. Yet
Wow.
many people are walking around with problems from it. And logically, if half your blood could potentially be like this, why wouldn't you have problems?
Right.
Not having problems should be more of a surprise than those who do have problems.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about some of those myths, talking about healing, a little bit touching on healing the wounds that come from that interaction, again, where people are not being honored for who and what they are, and that's why for Inscription, our mission is to make whole human wellness a reality. So this is dealing with a health problem that affects a particular community, but will also be addressing and touching on some of the related conditions like thalassemias and C trait and D trait and E trait and how all that can interact. So, you may have chances are, if you are ethnic, you do have a relative, either with sickle cell or sickle cell trait, if you yourself don't have one or the other. There's a lot of information about sickle cell now, but not as much about sickle cell trait. So we've been working with What's the Count, WDC, and you can check their website, wdconsct.org, to get more information about the conference, or ours, inscription.com, as well as add Inscription on our Instagram page to find out more about the conference. And we really want you to attend. We've also been doing some Facebook Live events to talk about these topics and, just hearing the pain and the suffering that people are going through.
Yeah.
And it relates to our conversation.
Right.
In that you have to be mindful who you mate with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to check their status. Do you have sickle cell trait or sickle cell? Do you have E trait, D trait, thalassemia? And do they? Because guess what? If they do, not a good match for you. Let's keep looking.
So are you saying so what does that mean for people with sickle cell in terms of mating?
Meaning they don't want to pick anyone that has sickle cell trait.
If you have sickle cell, you don't want to pick anyone with it. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
So
because your chance of having a child that has it is almost guaranteed at that point.
And rather you want to produce a child that would be a carrier or doesn't have it at all? Is that how that works?
Okay, so if you have sickle cell, you will definitely produce children that are carriers.
Mm-hmm.
That is a less severe situation than producing a child that is 2 S's.
How do we is it possible to get rid of sickle cell at all in humanity, or no?
Yes and no. So no, not really. Obviously it served a purpose. It is protective against malaria. And so in places where malaria is endemic, that's where you see more of it. They do now have bone marrow transplants. You got to get a whole bone marrow transplant. It's very serious. Other than that, you just have to manage it, and then all the things we've been talking about. Not drinking any kind of alcohol, like ever. Not eating pork. Limiting your beef. Red meat, it's better to do lamb than beef. It's more digestible.
Right.
You do need red meat sometimes, like once every other month or so, you need it because there are vitamins in it that you can't really get anyplace else naturally. You can get it synthetic, but it's not natural. You want to eat organic. You want to drink alkaline water. And you want to learn about the herbs that support the strength of your blood. We talked about Dong Quai, which helps to regulate the blood in the pelvic region a lot, which is why it's so good for women. But in general, like green herb, I like Green Vibrance brand with the green herb powders. They help to increase your blood's ability to carry oxygen and deliver it to the cells. So it relates, you have to, there's so many reasons why we need to change our lifestyle. Physical, historical, and spiritual. And we have to take our health and well-being seriously so that we can begin to experience that peace and that joy. When people are using the substances and drinking alcohol and clubbing and being irresponsible with mating and stuff, they're just looking for pleasure and joy and relief. But they're doing it in a way that, like I said, like a crack addict, that's damaging them. But people have said that all this is okay. And if someone says it's not okay, they're impinging your freedom and they're
Right.
putting constraint on you.
Yeah.
You know, the crack addict feels constrained when you tell him to put down the pipe.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Maisha, it's been a pleasure having you here today.
It's been fun. I had a lot of fun with you. I wish I could see your face, though. I
I'm
like seeing your reactions. It's weird.
you know I have them too.
Yeah, I know. So, but yeah, we want everyone to come to the conference, and we want everyone to experience the love and the light that we're experiencing. Everyone is struggling. Everyone has obstacles. You're going to be tested through your children, through your spouses, through your job, through your friends. You're going to be tested, and it's going to be difficult sometimes. But that clean life, I promise you, it's a better life.
Yeah.
You will be happier.
I believe that. I truly do. I thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, this is Changing Our Lives, where we get to guide conversation with ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
I love it.
Dr. Maisha, do you have any final words before we go today?
Yes, I think I'm supposed to say follow us on Instagram at Inscription. Check out our Facebook Lives with What's the Count. Oh, yeah, and please get my book.
Please get the book. Yes.
I hope you guys like it. It's on Amazon. It doesn't cost much. You know, it's my first book. I'll do more. I've been a poet forever. So I was a poet before I was a doctor. So I hope you guys like the book. Our mission at Inscription. So check us out on Instagram at Inscription. On Facebook, it's just, I think, Inscription. And the website is inscription.com. And also with What's the Count, WDCONSCT.org. Check out when we're going to be on the radio. I'm on the radio on Tuesday nights, and I think the Facebook Lives are on Thursdays. So I'm not good at all this plugging stuff that I'm supposed to do, but I'm trying.
That's right. That's all we can do is try.
Mostly, I just want to make whole human wellness a reality. That's what we're trying to do.
And you're doing a phenomenal job. You share so much important information. I hope women feel a little bit more armed today, a little bit more protected.
Women power.
Yes. This is the best way to finish the month of March, which is women's empowerment, with women's history. So, thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you more. Yes, I can't wait till the next time. Okay.
All right. Peace and love. Take care.
Peace and love.